Are the cereals in the grocery aisle as wholesome and nutritious as their ads in the front of the boxes suggest? Some say no, and there are currently 3 different class action lawsuits against 3 different major cereal companies. The cereals targeted are those that use labels like nutritious and have essential nutrients, or wholesome. One plaintiff says he ate one company's cereals for breakfast for years and believed he was making a healthy choice, but he says he recently learned some of those cereals contain enough sugar to put him at risk for things like diabetes, obesity, liver disease, and more. And three different lawsuits at once, 3 different cereal companies. And it's important to talk about one thing, which is you always want to read ingredients. You always want to know what you're eating. And some of these labels, look, whether it's a cereal box or any other manufactured product, they do love throwing out terms like wholesome. I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah. Right. Or you get misled by the fact that it says bran on the label. But I think to your point, it's so important to actually read the labels and also read the serving sizes, because a lot of the serving sizes for these are like a cup.
Which is crazy. Who just eats one cup of cereal?
And apparently we're all supposed to be eating about 12.5 teaspoons of sugar a day. On average, Americans are actually eating more like 19.5. And that doesn't seem like much, but when you add it up, that's 66 extra pounds of sugar per year consumed by the average American.
Since you all are bringing it up, how much sugar is in a typical box, let's say, of your generic Raisin Bran? This may be a little surprising. Are you going to be
You're being so subtle, Drew. I'm expecting quite a surprise.
No way.
Weigh 38 teaspoons, 162 grams of pure, refined sugar.
Now, in fairness, raisins are higher in sugar, and so the one caveat to this stuff is that I'm a big fan of cereal. I like it. I think it's quick, it's easy in the morning. But I think this does highlight something that's really important, and far too often we don't follow this advice, which is all you have to do, turn the container over, read how many grams of sugar per serving, read the ingredients list. If you see that sugar is one of the first couple of ingredients, you may want to choose a different type of cereal. The first ingredient.
Don't be misled by things like no high fructose corn syrup or something like that, because there are other forms of sugar, this or sugar in and of itself, to your point.
Well, I want to bring up another startling statistic. Apparently, even eating a little bit over 67 grams of sugar a day for over 5 years can increase your susceptibility to mental health disorders by 23%, especially in men, and that's what our research shows. And 67 grams of sugar is way less than that.
But the other thing I want to highlight, and this will be the new labels that are coming out, there's a big difference between sugars and added sugars, because again, things like raisins and fruits have a lot of sugar in them. What I always worry about is the added sugar. And that's where people can get fooled really quickly. And it's a telltale sign for me, literally every time I buy any packaged product, I flip it over. And the first ingredient is always important to me because I'm always looking for a whole grain of some kind. But if that sugar is anywhere near the top, high fructose corn syrup is near the top. But if, let's say, the first 2 or 3 or 4 ingredients are all things like fruits, dates, then I'm thinking, okay, well, at least some of the sugar content is coming from something that can be healthy for us. The new labels with added sugar are going to help us out a lot, because then you know how much literally sugar did they just add in.
It's so confusing right here reading this. It says 17 grams of sugar, but then you have to go back up to the top per serving. Typical serving, 1 cup.
And this is not to say, even though there are 3 class action lawsuits, this is not to say all cereals are bad.
No.
Because it is still a healthier choice for your kids. I know my kids eat cereal, and it's still better than them eating a donut or a muffin or something super sugary. But I think to me these numbers were astonishing, and it's important for people to read the labels and be aware of all these added sources of sugar.
And look for, I do still believe, look, you can be fooled by labels, but I'm a big believer in eating whole grain cereals, because then you get the fiber,
and
the added
sweeten it with natural fruit. Win-win.
Love that. It is such a win-win.